Well, the last 24 hours have certainly been explosive. What am I talking about, you ask? Well, I'm going to get into it right here on the Israel Brief. I'm Rolene Marks. Welcome to our Israel Brief community from wherever in the world you are. A big shout out to our friends from everywhere, from Sweden to South Africa, Australia to Saskatchewan, the United States, across Europe and everywhere in between. Welcome to our family. As always, the Israel Brief is brought to you by Lay of the Land, and it is day 299. Tomorrow we meet the 300-day mark since the start of Israel's war with Hamas, which started on the 7th of October. And these last 24 hours have been, I think explosive is the only word that I can describe it. So enough of me mumbling on. Let's get right into it. And Israelis woke up this morning with the news that Ismail Haniyeh, the political chief of Hamas and one of Israel's most wanted men, was assassinated in Tehran. Now, we don't know too many details about what happened, and Israel has not commented on the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. He was one of the most wanted men in Israel. In fact, if we go back to those days following the 7th of October, we said that Haniyeh, Mashal, Sinwar and various others are dead men walking, and last night he was certainly taken out. Haniyeh was in Tehran to attend the inauguration of Iran's new president, Mahmoud Pezeshkian, and was on film yesterday shouting, "Death to America, death to Israel." Well, be careful what you ask for, Mr. Haniyeh. The assassination of Haniyeh has been condemned by Turkey, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, who said they are concerned about hostage negotiations, Russia, China, the Palestinian Authority, of course, all your neighborhood hardliners. Iran has vowed revenge, saying that you don't take out a guest in our home, and have put up what they call their revenge flag. I mean, I think it takes a certain kind of entity to have a revenge flag. But Israel remains on high alert. Our security cabinet is expected to meet at 4 p.m. Israel time. Now, it is rumored that the head of Palestinian Islamic Jihad was in the same building as well and managed to escape with his life. Germany has called for restraint. The United States have said they have no involvement in the assassination of Haniyeh, and have said that a long-term ceasefire needs to be the goal here. There are a lot of concerns that we could see a massive escalation across the region, which of course I think all parties are going to want to try and avoid. Haniyeh's funeral will take place in Qatar tomorrow. Now, if that wasn't enough, Israel has admitted to eliminating the second in command of Hezbollah, Fuad Shakar. Shakar, who is second only to Hassan Nasrallah, was eliminated in a precision strike in a suburb in the south of Beirut last night. He is believed to have been the one who ordered the strike that killed 12 children in Majd al-Shams while they were playing soccer on Saturday. He is also instrumental in planning and executing many of the attacks and bombardments on Israelis throughout the last now nearly 10 months. Shakar was also wanted by the United States for his role in the bombing of the U.S. Marine barracks in 1983 that killed 241 U.S. servicemen. And what is quite extraordinary is that just hours before, a rocket attack on Kibbutz HaGoshrim killed an Israeli civilian. So this is a sense of justice for all the victims of Shakar's homicidal rocket attack and planning. Israel is on high alert, and we have strengthened security at embassies throughout the world, as well as Jewish installations. we are preparing for any kind of reprisals. Our Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said a short while ago that Israel doesn't want a war escalation, but we stand ready for any scenario. Lebanon's foreign minister have called for the UN to intervene, but let's just remind him that for now nearly 10 months, Hezbollah, which is a party in the Lebanese government, has violated UN Resolution 1701, which calls for them to retreat north of the Litani River, the Blue Line, and have been attacking Israel every single day. We have now, I think, over 40 civilians and soldiers that have been killed as a result of that. Since Saturday, 13 civilians, including those 12 children, have been murdered as a result of Hezbollah rocket attacks. The president of Qatar has indicated concern for the ongoing negotiations to free the hostages. We can't forget that there are still 115 hostages in the Gaza Strip, including 2 civilians that were taken by Hamas in 2014 and the remains of 2 soldiers who fell in Operation Cast Lead in 2014, Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul. He says one negotiating party doesn't assassinate the chief negotiator of another negotiating party. So Israel now has to make a concerted effort to ensure that these hostage negotiations aren't derailed. However, this does send a message out to the Iranians and their proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah, that we will not tolerate attacks on our sovereignty, on our citizens, and we will reach you no matter where we are. It is a profound insult to Iran to have Haniyeh assassinated on their sovereign territory, which goes to show, and of course Israel has not commented, just how far our reach can go. But in more sobering news, yesterday the IDF have said that there is a possibility that not all of the hostages will be located. And I think they were referring specifically to soldiers whose bodies were taken hostage by Hamas on that day. That we might have another situation like Ron Arad, whose remains have been missing for decades. However, it is our eternal hope that we get all our hostages back. Those that are alive, to start the process of recovery, and those that are no longer with us, so they may be buried with dignity. So those are top stories. It has been quite the day in Israel. Meanwhile, let's get to our audience question of the day, and it comes from Chris in New York, who says, why has the media been quiet about Majd al-Shams? Well, why indeed? It's very, very hypocritical, I think, Chris. I think they don't quite know what to do. They're so used to blaming Israel, and when the victims are 12 children murdered in cold blood, I think we see a different phenomenon here. This wants to kind of quell it. The media have called Majd al-Shams part of Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, but Israel won the Golan Heights in a war decades ago, and it is sovereign territory and is recognized by the United States as Israeli sovereign territory. These were 12 children. Their lives should matter. It shouldn't be an issue of semantics, and I'm glad that at least we've got people like you, Chris, around the world calling out the media for their epic hypocrisy. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook community is at Lottel site. If you haven't already joined us, please join us. And we are on YouTube right here at the Israel Brief and on X at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless you. I will see you again tomorrow.